influence that I'm basing this course on is Betty Edwards, who taught drawing on the right side of the brain. Now, she does her course over 5 days. And obviously 6 sessions of an hour and a half, however long we go for, is not going to equate to that. So really what I'm doing is I'm giving you a little intro into it. And hopefully if you're interested, you can continue with the drawings, or, you know, maybe we'll do another one, who knows. But now the reason that I'm looking at her work and find what she does really compelling is it's this whole idea of teaching from the right side of the brain, or of drawing from the right side of the brain. Now, I can teach you drawing from the left side of the brain. That is totally a legitimate way to teach drawing. The only difficulty with it is that it recruits a set of skills that are not necessarily skills you can apply in many different areas. So if you go to YouTube, you'll find lots of video clips that are essentially teaching in a left brain way, which I'm going to explain more in a minute. And you might learn to draw a face. You might learn to draw a bowl of fruit. But what you won't learn to do is to sit down with something in front of you and to know how to make a drawing of that. Because the skills that kind of teaching basically develop is it's almost like a systematic or a kind of formulaic way of drawing. So what does it mean, left and right brain? Well, right brain is really the part of your brain that is non-verbal. Okay, that's sort of the most important concept to understand about your right brain. It's intuitive. It sees things as wholes rather than as parts that get sort of put together. It's the part of your brain that when you're doing something, you lose sense of time. It's not linear and time located. It's also spatial. So it's about your right brain is the part of your brain that is used to analyze, or not really analyze, but to sort of judge relationships between things and spaces and relationships between lines and forms, that kind of thing. As opposed to your left brain, which is very verbal. It wants to name things. It wants to sort of categorize things. It wants to sequence things. It's very rational and linear. So you can see that if you're recruiting your left brain to draw, you're going to be recruiting a whole different set of, I guess, perceptual skills and abilities than if you're recruiting your right brain. So we're going to go to the next slide. So the first task for you all is to pick up your pencil and write your signature or sign your signature 5 or 6 different ways on your paper. And try and be as kind of flamboyant or as, you know, tight and constricted in some of them as you can be, but just try and do it in a completely different way each time. And one of them make your usual signature.
Bing. Oh.
No.
That wasn't me.
All right. So the reason we're doing that is because a lot of people think about drawing and are concerned about having a style, or even just art making generally. And what I want to try and reassure you is that your style is as intrinsic to you as your signature. So you might have found when you were signing your name in different ways, it felt really quite strange to do that.
Yeah.
And just you actually have an intrinsic style with your line. And all the drawing is using line. So when you access the right hemisphere of your brain to draw, your intrinsic style will come through. You don't even need to think about it. You don't need to worry about whether you are doing something that is kind of true to who you are or not, or you don't need to worry about whether it's unique or not. It will automatically be unique, just like your handwriting and the way that you sign your name is unique to you. And you can see even from your own signatures that if you sign your name in different ways, it's almost like the different ways you've signed them sort of suggest a different kind of personality. And that's what's so wonderful about drawing, is that once people are comfortable to draw and they just draw from that intrinsic self place, then their drawings speak about their personality in the line work. And some people have very sensitive, sort of softer lines, some people have stronger line, and all of that just happens naturally without you having to analyze it or think about it at all. So we're going to go to, does anybody have any questions? Did anybody raise their hand or no? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to quickly teach you left brain drawing. Is everyone ready? Oops, hang on, what happened to my slide? Okay, so that was a bit of a joke. But left brain drawing is when we recruit more of those skills that we used to use as children, where we would have kind of like a schema or a method and logic to our drawing. So we would sort of be working things out through ideas. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to, Penny, if you wouldn't mind spotlighting my drawing page now instead of this. Oh, do I need to stop the share? I do, don't
Yeah.
I? Okay, so here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to teach you quickly how to draw a pear. All right. So using your whole lower arm, so I'm moving my whole arm, not just my hand. Okay. I'm going to make a sketchy circle, so I'm keeping it quite light. And then up here, I'm going to put another circle overlapping. And then keeping my lines nice and light, I'm just going to make that into a pear by sort of joining up those two. And then down the bottom here, I just realized I've got my camera so close to the page, it's hitting my pencil. Now on this side, I'm making that line a bit darker, and I'm going to just decide, because I can, that my light source is up here. Now, logically, so remembering I'm using my left brain, I'm going to go, okay, the light source is there, so the lightest part of the pear is going to be closest to my light source, which is going to be here and here. And in order to make my pear appear like it has volume, I need to put shading in to create some weight and volume on the form. So the darkest part of my pear is going to be down this side because it's the furthest away from the light source. So I'm going to start to put some shading in. Now, because this is not really the focus of today's lesson, I'm not going to do this particularly carefully, but I just want to demonstrate to you how quickly you can develop a drawing of something that basically looks like a pear. Okay, so I've turned my pencil. You can see I'm holding it over the top like that, so that instead of using the tip of the pencil, I'm using the graphite sort of on its side. You can do that, or you can use the tip. And there's lots of different ways you can do shading. You can do it like I was just doing it like that. You can just do it with lines next to each other. You can do it with cross hatching. Okay, it's really up to you. Just put some shading in there just for the sake of getting this down today. So I'm going to bring my shading up. And as I come up towards my light source, I'm going to get lighter. And you can even, as you can see, layer the different types of, now I'm using the pencil more on its tip. Now, one of the important things about this kind of tonal drawing is that as soon as you have a dark outline, like you can see here, you see this outline, and it's darker than the shading, it breaks the illusion at that point. Okay, so what I need to do is underneath the pear, I'm going to put a shadow in. I'm going to keep the shape of the shadow roughly logical to the shape of the pear. But what I'm essentially doing is getting rid of that dark outline. Now, if I wanted to use my eraser, I can cut in, so I could bring out those highlights up here. I could put a stalk in. Okay, remembering the shadow is going to be on the side away from the light. Okay, and obviously if this was going to be my exercise that I was going to teach you, we would spend a lot longer doing that. But suffice to say that I can teach you with concepts like draw a circle, draw another circle, join them up, put shading here, where's your light source? I can teach you to draw an object so that basically it looks real. It looks like it occupies space and has volume. Okay, and that way of drawing, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, a lot of people, that is how they draw. And particularly with young people, if you show them this stuff, they love it because it's a basic skill, it's a concrete skill that enables them to go, oh, okay, well, now I can use that and I could draw a cube, you know, and then I could work out how to shade that so that it looks like it's occupying space, okay? And so it goes on. We can continue to learn how to draw like that. But what this method does not teach you is how to take something that feels really difficult, really, really difficult, and just sit down and draw it with some ease. Okay, so the reason for that is because it's recruiting the left brain skills that are linear, logical, analytical, all of those things that we love doing. We do a lot of that in our lives, but it's really not the most essential skill to drawing. So we're going to move on. So I can see a lot of people are still drawing, and I'm sorry that if I'm rushing you, but feel free to come back to that and then post that picture on the Facebook page if you want to later. Okay, so I'm going to share a screen now again. And we're going to move on. So if you can grab another piece of paper. Now, this next task is it's designed to help you to feel the shift between your left and right brain. So what I want you to do is, you can see on the slide, on the left-hand side, it says left hand. And on the right-hand side, it says right hand. If you are left-handed, I would like you to draw, as it is on the left-hand side of the page, it's a profile. So I'm just going to stop that share for a moment. Penny, could you just spotlight my drawing page again, please? So it's just a profile. So just think about it like, it really doesn't matter how like a profile it is. Okay, so just to prove my point, I'll draw a really funny profile. Okay, so it really does not matter. The point is not to make a realistic profile, trust me. Okay, so that could be my profile. Now, if you are left-handed, you need to do this one that I've just done first, and then do a line at the top and a line at the bottom. If you are right-handed, please draw from the other side. So a forehead, you can make it as interesting or as realistic as you like. Okay, so you can see mine's a bit crazy. Done that deliberately so everyone feels they can do whatever they like. So this is for the right-handed drawers. So if everyone can do that now, please. Okay, now we are going to trace over what you have drawn, and I would like you to keep in time with me speaking. So put your pencil at the top of your forehead. So I'm putting mine, you can't really see on my thing, but I've got mine at the top of my forehead. And you're going to trace down forehead, nose, top lip.
You mean down the same line?
Yeah, tracing over the same lines. Bottom lip, chin, neck, okay, we're going to repeat that. Pencil at the top, forehead, nose, top lip, bottom lip, chin, neck. All right. Now, you are going to come over to the opposite side. And when you are ready, you are going to draw a mirror image of your profile. I'm not going to say anything.
With the same hand.
Yes, with your same hand. So, for instance, I would start here. Okay. So, what I would like to do now is to hear a few responses from people. Because the task that we just did then created a very interesting experience, I would say probably for everybody here. And there was probably a moment in that drawing experience that you felt like you almost had to stop. Okay. Would anybody like to just talk a little bit about what that felt like or what they noticed in themselves and what was happening with their drawing? Just raise. Oh, thank you.
I had to, when I started, I thought, which way am I going? Like I had to rethink again, even though I was looking the other side. I'm thinking, no, I'm going the wrong way, but I was actually going the right way.
Okay. So how did you work that out?
By going back again and then starting again and going, oh no, I'm doing it right.
Okay. Thank you, Fran. All right. Thank you. Can anyone else comment on how they found it?
I literally, oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say, I felt like I was getting it wrong. Like all of a sudden I thought, oh no, that's wrong, because I was trying to marry too much to what I'd already drawn. Whereas last time I felt free, I'm just drawing a face. Whereas this time I felt like it had to be the same face. So I felt this conformity pressure.
Ah, performance pressure. Okay. Thank you for that. That's great. Thanks, Kate. Does anybody else want to share?
Oh, hi. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I had no trouble with it and it was very easy. So maybe my brain's not like everyone else's. Sorry.
Let's not diagnose you yet. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Jenny Lee. Does anybody else want to share anything? Anyone else got a really unusual brain? Oh, Helen, what did you want to say?
It's okay. No, my pencil just wanted to go its own way. It was like carrying me along in the wrong way, though. I had to fight it to sort of do the opposite. Really interesting.
Thank you, Helen. That's great. So what I think is quite common in this process is that because what I did to you with drawing the first profile is we did a very verbal process when we drew the first profile. Okay, we named all the parts. We were very much recruiting a schema that we all have in our heads about what faces look like in a profile. Okay, so what happens when you go to draw the mirror image, what usually happens is that most people who maybe are not used to recruiting their right brains, they'll start and they'll be thinking forehead in reverse, forehead in reverse, forehead in reverse. Oh, okay, nose in reverse. And what they're trying to do is like mentally flip the drawing, but stay in the linear verbal. And then there comes a point in the drawing where it's like you just go, oh, hang on. And instead of doing that, you start to look at the relationship of the line to the other line. It's almost like instead of doing it as an isolated line that you're hoping mirrors, you start to see a unified shape that you are trying to make. You see it as a whole vase. Like if you look at your drawing there, you can see a vase in the middle rather than two mirrored profiles. So for most people, as they do that, the words drop away. And they have, after they have that kind of like, whoa, this feels really weird. What am I doing? Then the words drop away and it's like you shift into that right brain way of seeing it more as a set of relationships. Okay, so does anybody want to have another comment or question about that? If you do, just raise your hand and Penny can let me know. I can see a few people. Joanna, hi.
I noticed in some spots I like made it too big or made it too small. And I can see like for the chin, I was trying to get the same distance and I've sort of made it really pointy. Yeah, okay. So I think that's kind of common for me to over or underdo it.
Okay, and that's probably just about practicing seeing relationships. Okay, so rather than, so I guess the point of this is not necessarily to have it exactly the same, but more to get you into that process of letting the words drop away. This is a chin, and just letting you like, oh, am I actually replicating that shape? Do you know what I mean? So so it's about, instead of calling it the words for the parts of the face,
yeah,
it's like, what's that shape?
The shape of it.
What's this shape? Oh, where does that line go? It's like a different kind of conversation that you're having. So you're spot on that you've noticed now, oh, I did that, you know, bigger here and that smaller there. That's the kind of conversation that you need to have. So that's good.
Thanks.
Did anyone else have a question? Oh, hi, Lizzie.
Hello.
Great that you made it.
Yes, thank you. So I think I misinterpreted the instructions when you said, because I'm right-handed, which was I meant to do the left or the right version first?
Okay, so the only reason to do that is because if you drew the right side of it first and then you tried to draw the left side, if you're right-handed, your hand's over the top.
Yeah. Okay, so I did that and I thought this isn't working, and then but it was fairly easy because the first one was obviously right, so it was fine. And then I was like, and then I did it again thinking I don't think this is right, but just doing the first line going to the left, I don't know why, but I found that really difficult, and then doing the other half easier. I don't know, maybe I've got a weird brain as well, but I know what you're saying though.
It must have been that street that you used to live in, you know.
Yeah.
Lizzie and I used to live on the same street. All right. Thank you, Lizzie. Does anyone else have a question or a comment? Hi, Sally.
Hi. I found it very, very confronting to actually be in that place of, I felt completely confused and uncomfortable, and so my brain just wouldn't get out of that verbally explaining things.
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to love the next exercise. Okay, Sally, don't worry about it because it might be the first time you've ever tried it. So it's always hard. It's like using different neural pathways. So that's great that you felt so aware of it, because being aware of it is like, part of the challenge. So with the next exercise, just try and forget about the product, as it were, and just focus on the process. Okay, because you will probably, I think everyone will find it quite challenging until they just focus on the process. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that was a lot of people's experience. So yeah. All right, does anybody else have a question or a comment? Stuart sitting way back from the camera, waving his hands wildly. Stuart. Stuart, you're still muted. You need to unmute yourself. Oh, I think, have you done it now?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
No. Yes, you can. All right. Hi, guys. I found when I was drawing the second line that I had an urge to go parallel with it as opposed to opposite. And I noticed the non-verbal or lack of non-verbal instructions. And so I had to revert. And I did what you're saying the right hand said. I went back and looked at the whole thing and did the opposite. I did have a conflict, a conscious conflict of I had to engage more concentration and effort to get something that was looking mirror image to my first drawing. But it was interesting that it was harder than the first attempt. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Thanks, Stuart. That's great. All right. So thank you, everyone, for speaking up, because it can be a little bit, feel a bit embarrassing in a way to admit to something feeling a bit uncomfortable, but it's all great here. Everyone can feel uncomfortable. I don't mind. I feel uncomfortable regularly in my studio, and I figure that if I don't, I'm doing something wrong. So the next exercise we're going to do is, I'm just going to go to the slides again. Just to show you what we're going to do. Okay, so that's an example of, it's actually a well-known illusion, Rubin's illusion, 2 profiles and a vase. And people see different things. That experience of seeing something, seeing 2 things from one image is called multiple stability. And once you start to see the 2, it's often difficult to stop. It's like you just flip between them. All right. So this is a copy of a drawing by Picasso, by, I think, Igor Stravinsky was a musician. There's probably some of you here that know much better than me. We're going to make a drawing of this. Now, we're not just going to make any drawing of this. We are going to make an upside down drawing. Now, when you go to do it, the sorts of dialogue you need to have in your head, it's nothing to do with naming the parts. Okay, try and let all of that drop away. The dialogue that you want to have in your head is, what is the direction of this line? How long is it in relation to the next line? Where does that line intersect this line? What is the angle that it goes on? Where does this one finish? Oh, there's another one here. Where does that one join up? Okay, so what you are using is like a kind of curiosity, and you're talking about relationships. Okay, so nothing to do with, oh, this is a hand, this is an ear. As soon as you start to do that, it will get harder. Now, I know that I can see from the faces that all of you think I'm telling you nonsense, but I promise you it's true. Because what happens is, as soon as you start to label the parts, you go into your schema. oh, I know how to draw a nose, or, oh my goodness, I don't know how to draw a nose. Okay, we've all got that stuff in our heads. It's not true. You do know how, you've just kind of forgotten. And what you have to do is get back into that space of going, okay, I can trust myself. This line goes here, and then this line intersects it, and then there's another one over here. Now, this drawing looks complicated, and there's a good reason for it. If it's too easy, your left brain will think, yeah, she's telling me upside down, but I can still do this, because I can work it out. If it's really complicated, your left brain goes, okay, I'm out of here. I can't do this. And you are forced to resort to that kind of relational talking. And it will feel a bit uncomfortable. It's a bit like maybe the first time you meditate. And they say, if you're conscious of your thoughts, and you're like, that's all I can think about, like my thoughts are just like, okay, it's a little bit like that when you start, but just trust me, stick with the process. Every time you start sort of judgment, like, oh, I'm not doing this right, oh, this is going to look terrible, just go, okay, calm yourself, like go away. I'm not listening to that judgment. Just where does this line go? So it's very much like a form of meditation. You're just coming back to the process over and over again, just coming back to the lines, coming back to the image. Where is my pencil now? What is it doing? Okay. What I would suggest you do is not start sort of by making a, I don't have the spotlight on that. Don't try and make an outline. Just start at one point and work your way methodically. This line joins with that line, it goes to that line over the surface. And we'll do this for about 25 minutes. And trust me, you will all be surprised at how awesome you are. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, now I was actually wanting you to see what I'm doing too, but that's probably going to be too, actually what I could do is I'm just going to demonstrate a little bit what I mean. So obviously I'm going to do this quite quickly. So you can't actually see the image, but I'll put that up for you in a minute. But what I was saying is if I was going to be drawing this image myself, I'm just going to pick a place to start, and I would just be thinking, okay, so it comes down a bit, and then it comes down at another angle, and then it joins up with that line, and then it comes away. Okay, and then this line comes straight down, and it joins up along that, and then it comes out a bit. And then there's another line that comes across right from near the edge of that line. And then it comes up. And then actually breaks into 3 little lines. Oh, and then there's another one that comes down from about here. Oh, how much further below that is it? Okay, it comes from about here. And comes down, and it's not exactly straight. And it intersects with that a little bit, and then it curves around, and it goes a bit lower than this. And then it's straight at the bottom, and then it comes kind of straight down like that. And then just in front of it here, there's a circle. And then it comes.
You're off the page now, we can't see that. Oh, here we go, we can.
Okay. Thank you. So you get the idea. I'm talking about where the lines are in relation to each other. I'm not talking about, oh, that's the arm of a chair. Okay, nothing about recognition of objects. So I'm going to now go back to sharing my screen.
But you have to do some directional thinking, don't you?
Yeah, so when I was doing that, I was thinking, okay, this one's coming straight down. And that's slightly, it's not, in fact, when I look at the picture now, that one should have been slightly on an angle. So I'm definitely thinking direction. I'm thinking length. It's all about the relationships of the lines to each other, where they intersect. Now, you're welcome to use your rubber. If you want to rub out, that's fine. Okay, don't feel like this is got to get this perfect. You don't have to get it perfect anyway. But if you want to rub out, that's okay. All right, and remember, it's a process. So try and just relax into the process and be prepared to surprise yourself with that. So I'm going to share the image. This is the image upside down. So grab your piece of paper and just pick anywhere to start.
So we keep it that way round now. We don't turn it upside down again. Yeah.
No, you're drawing it exactly as you see it.
Okay,
You're making a copy of what you see. And just start at some point, and just doesn't matter if you only make it an inch by an inch drawing in the next 25 minutes. You take your time and you just go into your own space and relax into doing it.
Corinne, when you have a second, would you better make me the host again, please? I just handed over for a minute. And then Penny Flexbin has her hand up.
Okay.
Won't be long, Penny. We have the same name.
I'm not sure how to make you the host without stopping the screen sharing.
Okay.
Unless I can see you in the. Hang on.
Might just have to open up so that our icons are a little bit bigger, just so you can find me in the crowd.
Yeah.
Penny, you can unmute yourself if you wanted to say something.
I already finished my drawing. I
Okay.
finished my drawing.
That was very fast.
All right, that's lovely. Just if you can just wait till the other people have finished, or if you, I'm not sure, I can't actually see you now. I could see you before. Let me just see if I can see you. If you can't wait, that's okay. You can sign out of the call. I'm just trying to come back to you. There you are. Hey Penny, how you doing? So Penny, we just want to give people a little bit more time to keep concentrating, okay? So if you need to, you can try and make another one, or you can just wait quietly, okay? Okay, everybody, I hate to stop you because I can see that most of you are still drawing, but we're getting kind of to the end of our time together, and I'm hoping that what I've managed to do is kind of give you a taste for something, and I am going to give you a bit of homework so you can continue with some of this work. So what I encourage you to do is to turn your drawings over, and I'm going to show you the right side up again. So there is the original drawing, and you can have a look at what you've done.
Mine's got COVID weight. It's got very wide.
Yeah, so of course your drawing is not going to be an exact match for the original. However, I can pretty much guarantee you that if I had got you to draw it the right side up, your drawing would be less of an accurate representation than it is now. If you just take a look at this slide here, why can I not change the slide? Oh, because I've got the chat there. Oops, sorry. Not that one, this one. So this is an example of one of Betty Edwards' students. The left-hand side drawing is, he misunderstood the instructions and made a right side up drawing. And the right-hand side drawing is his upside down drawing. Now, the reason that we're doing the upside down drawing is because what you will notice is the attention to detail and to the, for instance, if you look at the handkerchief in his pocket and the number of spots on the tie, and he's actually made a really good attempt at the eyes and, you know, the facial features in the upside down drawing, and the hands as well. In the right side up drawing, it looks almost as if he sort of looked at it and thought, hands, all right, 5 fingers, you know, squish them together, kind of hide them. Whereas in the right side up drawing, there's actually a fairly good rendering of the hands. So what I'd like to do now is just to have a few people tell us how they found that process. So you don't need to judge your drawing, okay? Remember, we're not really too worried about whether the drawing looks good, okay? Because this exercise is to help you to shift into drawing with more of that relational spatial awareness that comes with your right brain, okay? So I'm more interested in you talking about what the process was like for you than to hear you say, oh, I think my drawing's good or bad or whatever. So does anybody want to volunteer to share?
Sally has her hand up.
Okay, I'll just stop the share so we can see you more clearly. Hi, Sally.
Hi. I actually found it very freeing, and I've had people tell me you should just play around, and whenever I do that, it's a mess. But this was I actually found that this was amazingly freeing, and I could do it. I didn't know what I was drawing, but I just, and actually a lot of things were out of scale, but somehow it just felt a lot easier than trying to do it in the other ways that I've tried before.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. So it's almost like you just got into that process and kind of, in a way, released yourself to that experience rather than all of that judgment around, you know, does it look like a hand or whatever? Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Sally. Does anybody else want to share how they found it?
Angie's raised her hand.
Hey, Angie, how are you?
Hey, Corinne. I found it really, had the same experience on the bottom half with the lines. Like I was just engrossed in the lines and getting them in the right spot. And then I got to the hands and then I just couldn't let go of the hands. I couldn't let go of the fact that they were hands. And then I was going, just think of the lines, but yeah.
Okay, so that's really interesting. And from other classes I've done, that is exactly what happens with a lot of people. It's like as soon as your brain recognizes something, it wants to latch onto that and kind of recruit your patterns and your schemas. Okay,
Into making it look like a hand instead of just thinking about where are those lines. So I had to keep pulling myself back to lines. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And that is, I mean, it's just like that whole meditation thing. Okay, let the thoughts go. It's like your process was exactly what it should be. Okay, just okay. I hear you, but I'm doing this now. Yeah. Okay, so that's great. Thank you. So I see another hand here with Tamara Jackson. Hello.
I really like that. I found it really relaxing. And doing the chair, I started at the top and the bottom and worked my way up, depending which way you're looking at it. So the chairs with the straight lines was really quite relaxing. And then as I was getting to the body and the curves, I kept like wanting to flip it. And my brain kept going, just flip it. I was really surprised, like just concentrating on the angles and the distances, and this is similar length to that. I found it really quite relaxing, even with someone talking to me the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Because I think most of us, it's like you get so absorbed that you can't talk or do anything, but that's great that you found that. Thank you for sharing that. Nice. Does anybody else want to make a comment?
Yep, LJ's raised her hand here.
Hi, LJ.
I actually found it really confronting initially because I'm one of these people who say I can't draw. I'm the one in my family who cannot draw. So it was having to take a step back and try to convince myself it doesn't matter if it's crap, just have a go. So
yeah, well done. So that's great. So is it LJ? Sorry,
LJ, yeah.
LJ. So stick with it, okay? Because the reason we do that exercise is that then when you come to draw a face of someone sitting near you, instead of recruiting I know I can't draw language, or I've learned how to draw a nose like I drew that pear, you'll be just looking at it and thinking, oh, where does that line go with this? Oh, what's the angle of that line? And so you'll be recruiting those visual spatial skills and the language. Okay, so it is confronting. So thank you for sharing that, because I think you'll probably find that there are a lot of people in the group that would have found that really confronting. And because we're so used to focusing on product. Okay, so give yourself a big, that you did it, and that, you're trying to give yourself a new belief about yourself, which is great, which is that you can draw. That's awesome. Okay, does anybody else want to make a comment?
Yeah, Claire's just raised her hand.
Hey, Claire.
Claire, you're just on mute, so you just need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah,
awesome. I found it, I was so absorbed in it. I really, oh, look, there's a line. Oh, that joins with that. I really, just really super enjoyed trying to work out. It doesn't look anything like his. But then I have to say to whoever said they can't draw hands, neither can Picasso. You don't think the fingers do that. So, hey, he did rather well, didn't he? No, it was, it's a lovely way to get everything out. It is like a meditation, because you just, well, I personally was just so focused on the lines, I didn't have a thought of where I was or what anything was. And when you said it, somebody said, oh, they're finished. I'm like, oh, really? I'm only on half his arm, It was, lovely way to just free your brain a bit.
Oh, great. Thank you for sharing that. I hope that lots of you found it that way as well. Okay, so I might call it an evening. I just want to tell you what the homework is for those of you that want to do a little bit of homework. Of course, it's not compulsory. And also, if you end up missing a class, it's no drama. This is not like school, okay? There's no rules. So just come to as many as you can and do as much homework as you can, as long as you're enjoying it. So the idea with the homework is just to do a few more exercises to kind of put yourself in that space of experiencing that right left brain kind of tension, and then hopefully shifting more into that meditative state that Claire just described, where she forgot sense of time. She was totally focused, quite relaxed, alert. Okay, so and then there are also 3 other drawings, which we're going to call pre-instruction drawings, pretending that you haven't just done one class, which are going to be sort of like a snapshot of how you draw. Now, I'm going to send you, if you're on my email list, you'll get this in an email. So you're welcome. I just noticed, so I'm going to try and call you by your name, but I can't get the cursor in the right space. I just noticed some people taking photos, but if you're on the email list, you'll get this tomorrow. So the pre-instruction drawings, the idea of those is just draw how you want to draw. Don't think too much about what we did tonight. Just sit down with each of them and give yourself a bit of time. Think, okay, I'm going to draw my face. I'm going to draw my hand, and just make a drawing as described of those, your hand, your face, and a chair. Okay, date them, and then just put them in a drawing folder or a book or something that you're keeping your drawings in, because in a few weeks' time, you'll be able to compare them with some of the stuff that you will be doing, and hopefully you'll feel quite encouraged by how, not that your line, well, actually your line will be different, because your line will be intuitive. Like, it will be the difference between being taught how to do cursive writing at school and having your own handwriting. Okay, so your line will be different. You will be making your drawings from a totally different space if you continue doing the exercises and come along. So, and then if you have the inclination and the time, spend some time and make a few more upside down drawings. And I didn't put these in upside down, but pick something complicated. Okay, pick something that your brain goes, oh my goodness, I cannot do that.
Oh God, look at that.
Okay, so don't be scared to pick something complicated, because that is exactly the space within which your brain is going to go, okay, I check out here and I'm going to let my right brain handle this set of problems, which is for the right brain not a problem at all. Okay, because that's what the right brain loves. It loves complexity. It loves to create relationships and notice them. And so, yeah, so those sort of complicated images are the sort of images it would be great if you could use. If you find one that you think is an awesome thing to use, can you put it on the Facebook page? Because some people might find it hard to find an image to use. So I did put a couple in the email for tomorrow with the homework, but feel free to find your own pictures to base your drawings on. So I think that's it for tonight. If anybody has any questions or comments before we sign off, that would be fine. I'm happy to answer any questions or that anyone might have.
Corinne, some people had questions about whether or not they were on the email list. So I've just popped a link in the chat to Corinne's website where you can register to be part of the drawing course, and you'll get all the email updates from that, I think. So
thank you, Penny. That's amazing. Thank you for thinking of that. And the Facebook page is just called So You Think You Can't Draw ... which the ... bit is the important bit, because that's where we're going to all say, yes, we can. So yeah, so if you're on Facebook, if you're not on Facebook, don't stress about it. you can email me a picture of your drawing if you want feedback. Okay. So one of the great things about lockdown is that there's so much time, more time in the day. So yeah, feel free to email me or connect on the Facebook page or however. But thank you, Penny, for doing that. I did actually, okay, and if you, can anyone print that, or how do they keep a copy of the chat, Penny? They can't save it, can they?
It should be in the recording, Corinne. So
also, you can save it with 3 little dots where it says across from everyone. There's 3 little dots. You click that, you'll save it.
Oh, to download the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We can download it as well.
Cool.
So.
All right, but it's basically just my name. My website is just my name. So you just look me up, and then you'll see a page or a button for the online drawing course. So yeah. So does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Sorry, your Facebook page, is that just your name as well? Sorry if I missed that.
So the one that I've created for the drawing group is called So You Think You Can't Draw. But if you get the email, you'll get the link to the Facebook page in the email.
It has our beautiful Picasso drawing on it, the Facebook page.
It does. Yeah. Okay, so I think people are wanting to go and have a cup of tea and head towards bed. If no one else has any comments or questions, Penny, has anyone got their hand up? Oh, Robin.
Yes, Stuart's got he's waving there frantically in the back.
Oh,
Stuart, you have to learn how to raise your hand in the thing down the bottom. Okay.
Oh, is it? I'll have a look.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. I'm new to this. With this drawing, this really brought back to me teaching myself how to draw 3 or 4 years old and copying Andy Capp from the newspaper, then gradually Blondie. And by the time I was in 5th grade and 6th grade, I was copying with about 5 other guys. We used to compete on who could draw the closest thing to the Mad magazine.
Oh, okay.
And we thought we were pretty smart, and we did get close. One of the guys was just amazing. We couldn't touch him, and he's wiped everything out. And he's got his own studio. I also did an apprenticeship with a guy who did pointless pen pictures, and he would spend 3 or 4 hours on A4 and A2 pointless things.
Wow.
And I met him, he was about 22, and he's on Facebook. He's got his own website and stuff like that now. And now he'll be an old fart like me now. So he'd be a pretty interesting guy to talk to. Okay, well, that's from me. Good night.
Thanks, Stu. Thanks for joining us. I think Robin Conroy has a question.
It was a pleasure.
If anybody has to go, been lovely having the evening with you, and I look forward to seeing you again. And yeah, just connect with me however you would like. Hi, Robin. Question?
Not a question. I just wanted to say thank you for the best night. I really.
You're most welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And yes, it just just enjoying drawing for the sake of drawing. It was fabulous. I really, really, really enjoyed it and appreciate all the work you've put into it. And looking forward to the next 5. That's all.
Yay. Okay. Thanks, Robin.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Sally D has her hand up.
Yes, I've never felt excited about drawing before, but I felt really excited doing your class tonight. Oh no. Yeah, I felt really excited.
I can hear you. I just can't see you, but that's fine. Oh, there you are.
Yes, it makes me feel like I want to do more. Whereas when I've done art before, it's always been such a hard slog, and I've not felt like I've gotten anywhere with it. So this has really been amazing. So thank you. I do have one other question.
Sure.
I find that I'm very heavy-handed, and I'm pretty much really engraving it into the paper. So it's really hard to rub out. Do you have any suggestions about that?
So what kind of pencil are you using?
2B, but it's more about that I've always had a lot of tension when I'm writing, and so I just rip it really hard and press really hard.
So, and you've done that since you were a little kid?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm not quite sure what to suggest about that. I mean, obviously you can use, I mean, a 2B pencil should be quite good to erase, but not if you've really pressed hard with it. But then on the other hand, if you used a light pencil, you're still going to have a lot of difficulty rubbing it out, like even an HB or a 2H or something. Like they're just so hard and they're hard to rub out if you've pressed hard. Can I come back to you on that one, Sally?
Sure.
Oh, Sally, have you ever used charcoal before or drawn with charcoal?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah, Sally, yeah.
Not really, no.
Yeah, okay, because I like to press pretty hard too, and I found that when I was introduced to charcoal, it kept snapping in my hands. So because it was so dark, I had to really learn to draw lightly, and I learned how to kind of do those light gestures with just the willow charcoal, and just knowing that it would make that really dark mark. So that was a good way for me to just practice drawing lightly, and then just sketching in the drawing. So, you know, even if you don't use charcoal for all your, you know, drawing needs, but maybe just to practice with a bit of charcoal, you might find that it might help with that kind of loose wrist movement. So maybe that's something you can try. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's probably a little bit like changing any muscle memory thing, that you might just need to like practice drawing a circle, like just very almost trying to tickle the paper, you know, and trying to get comfortable with that, and then drawing lines and trying to sort of tickle the paper, and just but getting your arm and your wrist and your hand moving, and to almost retrain yourself a little bit around the pressure that you're applying.
Yes.
But it probably won't be easy to change that because you've done it all your life. So, I mean, I guess you could try that. You could try what Penny's suggesting. So Penny's also an artist, and so she's you know, speaking from her experience. Yeah, and just I think it's just going to take a bit of time and a little bit of persistence to try and retrain. It's a bit like some of the people on the call are dancers. And like if you do something wrong, Rosalind, you know this. Like I used to do some weird thing with my feet. It took me so long to retrain, you know, to retrain my feet. So yeah, it's just muscle memory sometimes. Okay, so does anybody else have a question before we call it a night? No. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody who's still on the call. I can't actually see. I think there's just a smallish group left, but thank you so much. It's been lovely to see you all, and I hope that you all feel encouraged and excited and just enjoy yourselves with the drawings during the week. All right.
Thanks, Corinne.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, Robin. See you, Rosalind. Bye, Ross.
Bye.
See you, Helen. Bye, Sally.